Hey everyone, and thank you for joining us on air and streaming on KARE 11 Plus. I'm Jason Hackett. Before we get to all those stories this morning, let's talk some weather. Spin the weather wheel this morning, John. Where are we going to land? What's happening?
I like that one. Can I steal that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Absolutely. It's yours.
I usually go with the chaos thing. Yeah, today we're up. We're landing on warm. Temperatures are warming. Yesterday, if you look at Bemidji, you're at -5. Every day, Bemidji has either been +30 or -30 for the day prior. So that means today we're 30 degrees plus. Yesterday was about -5. Now you're 22 above. I mean, just wild waking up to a new season every morning. 20 degrees here in the metro. We've actually been climbing here. It was 18 degrees just about an hour or two ago. Here's what it looks like off to the north. You got a little bit of light snow in Duluth, Bemidji. Very light. We're not expecting any problems from this here. You can see a couple of flurries up there. Emily, Bemidji. This is all going to clear out, and we'll see sunshine even up there. So sunshine comes in by the afternoon. We go from 22 to 40, 41. A beautiful day today. Enjoy, get outside and do some walking. How do the roads look, Cece?
Good morning. These beautiful days really helping out the roads. Things look great here. Taking a live look in North St. Paul. This is on Century Avenue, Highway 120. Very quiet. That's really the case out there this morning. Taking a look here, no crashes to report. Things have been pretty quiet on that front. I do want to talk about a weekend closure happening on 394, though, where that will be, where the detours are. I'll have more about that just after 6:15.
Cece, thank you very much. We'll talk to you then. Developing this morning, millions of dollars in Medicaid funding for Minnesota is on pause, putting pressure on state leaders to crack down on fraud. And in just over 4 hours, Democratic lawmakers will reveal their plan to do just that. Audrey Russo joins us live outside the state capitol with what we know. Audrey, good morning.
Yeah, the governor is unveiling his new anti-fraud legislation at 10:45. Proving he's got a plan to stop fraud has become a lot more critical in the last 24 hours.
We have decided to temporarily halt certain amounts of Medicaid funding that are going to the state of Minnesota.
That's Vice President J.D. Vance. He and Medicaid's administrator, Mehmet Oz, say they'll hold back $259 million in Medicaid reimbursement until Minnesota leaders propose a plan to stop fraud. Now, that figure is based on an audit from the last 3 months of 2025. Oz says that this is the first time the feds have taken this level of action against a state using Medicaid. Now, roughly 1 in 4 Minnesotans are on that program by some estimates. And in the moments after the press conference, Walz took to X saying, quote, Trump is weaponizing the entirety of the federal government to punish blue states like Minnesota. These cuts will be devastating for veterans, families with young kids, folks with disabilities, and working people across our state. Now, Vance and Oz say they're confident that Minnesotans won't be harmed by this action. Coming up in about 30 minutes, I'll have more on why they say that, plus the timeline for what the governor must do moving forward. But for now, I'll send things back to you.
Again, that press conference kicking off at 10:45. Audrey Russo reporting live this morning. Thank you. So to add more context to the situation here in Minnesota, a state-commissioned report from a third party released earlier this month reviewed more than $9 billion in claims for 14 Medicaid services deemed high risk for fraud. According to that report, 90% of Minnesota's autism services were flagged as potentially fraudulent. Now the state is advancing work on Medicaid anti-fraud systems. A landmark deposition happening in the next few hours in the Jeffrey Epstein case. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton will answer questions under oath behind closed doors. Megan McPherson is in the newsroom with more on today's interview. Megan.
Yeah, Jason, the depositions are happening today and tomorrow in Chappaqua, New York, which is where the Clintons live. But now both Hillary and former President Bill Clinton will give sworn confidential testimony outside of a courtroom about their past associations with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, his convicted co-conspirator. Hillary Clinton is scheduled to testify first, and Bill Clinton is expected to sit for questioning tomorrow. Undated photos of the former president were included in Epstein-related files recently released by the Justice Department. Bill Clinton has repeatedly said he had no knowledge of Epstein's crimes and denies any wrongdoing. And there is currently no evidence tying him to Epstein's criminal activity. He also says he cut off contact with Epstein before he was charged in 2006 with having sex with a minor. And transcripts of both depositions are expected to be made public at some point. I'll have some more details on some of the questions that they may face coming up in 30 minutes. Back to you.
All right, Megan, thank you. Today, we're expecting to learn new details about a deadly crash in Mille Lacs County. 4 people were killed and another person was seriously injured. This is a map of where it happened. We know it happened around 7 o'clock last night near Highway 169, just south of the Mille Lacs Casino, closing 169 for several hours. That is back open this morning, though. According to State Patrol's website, a 21-year-old driver crossed over the center line, hitting another car with 4 people inside. The report does say the crash involved someone not wearing a seatbelt. State Patrol is expected to release the victims' names at 6 p.m. This morning, more charges are expected to come down in a massive federal drug trafficking bust against the Family Mob street gang. MPD Chief Brian O'Hara says the gang is connected to 2 mass shootings on Lake Street last September. Multiple people were charged yesterday, responsible for the distribution of enough fentanyl for more than 3.5 million lethal doses, all within the past 7 months. That's according to officials.
To those who seek to fill the void created by the dismantlement of the Family Mob network. That message is this: the FBI will build bridges, foster partnerships, expend the talents of our workforce, and expend all resources at our disposal to deliver the same fate of those networks as the one met by Family Mob.
If convicted, those facing federal charges could be sentenced to life in prison. A Red Lake mother is awaiting sentencing this morning after being found guilty of killing her 2 sons and setting her house on fire. Jennifer Stately was charged in 2024 with stabbing her 5- and 6-year-old sons. According to her attorney, she thought her home was, quote, demonic. Stately is facing life in prison. Time now 6:07 as we take a live look from the state capitol this morning. Right now, flags across Minnesota are flying at half-staff in the honor of the Reverend Jesse Jackson. Governor Walz saying they will stay that way until sunset tonight. And in just hours, Reverend Jackson will lie in repose at Rainbow Push Coalition headquarters in Chicago. That's the organization that he founded. People can pay tribute to Reverend Jackson through tomorrow before his body goes to Washington, D.C. for memorial services and his home state of South Carolina, where he will lie in state next Monday. His body will return to Chicago for his final private service next Saturday.